Mike Robinson from the Toledo Rocket Radio Network joins us now. Mike Rob, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Mark, like always.
So we've got this Toledo Rocket team that looked pretty good the first 2 weeks, didn't look quite as good the next 2 weeks, and there's a lot of woe is me, what's happened with the Rockets, and they just come out and have their most complete performance of the season against Central Michigan.
And it was the best time to do it. It was homecoming. You were celebrating two MAC championship teams here at homecoming. You know, you had the great Cody Thompson in there. You had Tyson Anderson. It's a lot of pressure, you know, whether people want to say it or not. It's a lot of pressure on the football program to get things going. New athletic director, new directions. So everyone wants to see success. And Jason Candle delivered. He delivered a big victory at home where they came out hot. They stumbled and sputtered a little bit at the halftime, but they finished this game completely, and the defense was lights out.
I think that's the important part, is that second half where Central started to make a little bit of a run. That Rocket defense dug their heels in, got a couple of stops, and that's really what secured the victory then in that second half.
Yeah, you know, the defense did their job, but the special teams is something that we got to really lock in on. You know, freshman punter Batsky, he's got to make some plays here, you know, where, you know, he's getting the ball off a little bit late. You know, good thing it didn't hinder us too well. That defense, like we talked about, they're stout. They stood up really, really tall in those moments. But those things have to get corrected because you're going to see a lot of pressure from this NIU team with Coach Hammock.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we've ever had a football game with two blocked punts and neither punt then secured any more points. That's the way the defense played against the Rockets. Usually if you get a blocked punt, you're in a pretty good position to at least get a field goal out of it, but that defense came up big and really bailed out the special teams there.
You know, and that's the championship mentality that Coach Karras and Coach Kuligowski has installed into this team, and that's what we're used to believing in now. For the past couple seasons, you know, this Rocket defense has been tough and they've been getting better, but they are battered. You know, they had some guys knocked out the game, injured, and kind of, you know, you lose Max and Hook on the first play. So trying to figure out how to get those guys going with the starters out, they did it, and they had guys in place. You got to respect what Ford did as well, stepping in there in that huge role where Maxon was staying at.
So you've got the Rockets 3-0 at home, 0-2 on the road. They're back on the road this Saturday, heading to DeKalb. And throughout the last 15 years, Northern Illinois has not been a friendly place for the UT Rockets. Why is this year going to be different?
This year's going to be different because it is. You know, we got a run game now. I think why it's going to be different this year because last year we played them really well, obviously, and then this year is going to be the uptake. They don't have their quarterback. You got a backup quarterback at Hampton. Not saying that that's going to be the deciding factor, but I do think our run defense is going to be good enough to slow down what they have with Way Lee and Brown because those two guys are what the offense completely is now. You know, you got Tucker on the outside. They're going to make some plays, but I think our offense have now believed into the run game. You got Jacquez Stewart now stepping in front of the pack. Micah Kelly now getting into his role. Those things matter for us, and I think that Northern is going to have to stop our run game, which they've had a hard time doing the rest of the season, hence they're only 1-4.
Jason Candles, talk about this four-game stretch, the trips to Ohio State, San Diego State, then home for Central, then at Northern Illinois as being a tough four-game stretch. Yep. You're three-quarters of the way through it. How difficult is it for the players to keep that focus, knowing that it theoretically gets a little bit easier after this one, but you got to get through the finish line?
I don't think it ever gets easier in the MAC. I mean, it is MAC for a reason. You know, you're going to go up against other teams that, you know, you feel like is comparable to you, but also at any given moment can have a big play. And that's what we see in the MAC, and that's what you're going to see out of NIU. They're going to have their big plays. They're going to have their moments, but they're also going to give us opportunities to make those big plays. I think our players have been in those situations, going out to the shoe, seeing what that felt like. I don't think the pressure is no longer what's going to be the driving factor to the reason why we don't take care of games and business. Our offensive line is finally gelled. You know, they made some adjustments. And I talked to Nate Jepson, former, you know, UT, starting player. He shuffled around the offensive line. Number one thing he said is that happens in every single program. So as you see that go, we're going to get more comfortable. What it also does is create depth. And so I think that the Rockets feel a little bit more comfortable going forward because they got things figured out up front.
Overall, where's the health of this team at right now?
You know, I think they're in a good spot, you know, to be at this point in the season. You know, there's still some jury out on some of the guys who got banged up a little bit if they're going to be available for this week. But I think that the backup stepped up, and they've been able to get a lot of playing time throughout this season so far. You've seen a lot of different names. You've seen guys like Peters get in. You're seeing, guys getting moved up closer to the ball because they are losing. Well, Terrence Taylor's going for the season. So having guys ready to step in those spots they've already got on the field and they've already had their taste. You saw Culpepper doing a really good job in there, and also Kevon Butler, who had to step in where Desjuan Johnson wasn't in there for the whole second half, I want to say. So you got faith in your team, and I think the strength of our team is up front. The back half of that defense is where we shouldn't lose some more players, because I think that's where you get a little dicey with a lot more younger players.
Huskies are 1-4 coming off of a double overtime loss, so a very dangerous NIU team. They certainly are aware of the situation where if they lose to the Rockets, that opens up the MAC West for UT. Rockets want to blow those doors open. Mike Rapp, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.